Next on our program, we're going to be listening to a work in progress by composer Suzanne Ciani, who presently lives in New York, has been there for some time. She was formerly a student at the University of California, Berkeley, and has been also a graduate of Wellesley College. She is a composer who has worked extensively in the electronic medium, not only in the realm with which we're most familiar, the serious music realm, but she's also the composer of numerous commercial pieces, many of them for advertisements, and some of them that will probably be familiar to you if you were to hear them. Earlier, we played a little segment from her sample tape, which included the Coca-Cola Have a Coke and a Smile song. You wrote that, huh?
Hey, yeah.
That's really amazing. How did that happen, Suzanne?
Well, it's happening the same way the new campaign is happening. It's it's a bloodbath competition where 50 different people write songs and one of them emerges. So.
That's not the way you do most of your work in advertising, I imagine, though.
No, but I think in the very large accounts there's an awful lot of politics involved and competition and creative where the stakes are very high. It's very intense. But in most cases, I think it's just a matter of being presented with a film and designing music for it.
Suzanne, could you tell us a little bit about your music background?
Well, traditionally, of course, as you mentioned, I have a master's degree from the University of California in composition. I was a music major at Wellesley College. I also studied with Max Matthews at Stanford University in the old days at the Artificial Intelligence Lab. I even did a stint at the Ali Akbar College of Music. And then I hit the streets and learned just about everything I know now in the real kind of commercial world of music, and that's had a very strong influence on me. And the music that I'm making now, which I consider my artistic statement, definitely shows the influence of the methods and techniques that I've had in producing commercial music for films and television.
Could you tell people listening exactly what kind of equipment you use when you produce both kinds of music? I mean, you probably use the same equipment for a commercial piece that you might for another electronic piece that's concert nature.
In commercials, typically, I'm doing a combination of traditional instruments and electronics. And so very often it's a rhythm section, a string section, horns, woodwinds, whatever, and integrating electronics into that, unless it's a special case where electronic sound is appropriate to the whole texture. So in my own work, however, I work exclusively in electronic medium, and I use right now, I mean the equipment changes all the time, but right now I'm working primarily with a New England Digital Synclavier 2, Prophet 5, and a Buchla electronic instrument.
How do you use the Synclavier? That has a memory in it, so you can program and use floppy disks, doesn't it?
Yes. I'm just breaking it in now. The piece I'm doing currently is centered around the Synclavier, and it's different because it can make incredibly realistic sounds, and that's not what I want. So to me, there's always been a distinction between creating the timbre of the sound and the way you can control the sound over time. I'm much more interested, really, in controlling the sound over time than I am in particularly the color of the sound. And so the Synclavier I've considered first off as something that makes fascinating timbres, and now I'm trying to get it to control the sound over time in an interesting way.
I wonder if we could, before we go on to this piece, which is fascinating, it's about 15 minutes long, and while we have you on the phone, I want to ask you a couple other things about your other work.
By the way, could I just say one thing?
Yeah.
Those pieces were done before the Synclavier, and that's primarily MC8, Roland MC8 and Prophet 5 and Buchla. And,
is there a vocoder used?
Pardon me?
Is there a vocoder used in...
And there's vocoder. Very subtle vocoder. I like particularly just the subtle kind of human filtering effects and the feminine quality these pieces are, an attempt at making electronics sensual. And I work, very painstakingly at getting a sound that is not static, but that's molded and kind of sensual. And also, what can I say? I use the kind of automatic rhythmic qualities of the synthesizer to induce a kind of relaxation in the listener. Plus, from the commercial side, they're all structured around very simple melodies so that they're accessible and also, I think, contribute to the relaxation quality.
One example that I'd like to play for our audience is the piece you did for Merill Lynch, which is the China Shop, the bull walking through the China Shop. And it has that quality to it, I think, now that I hear you say that. Let's play it, and while we're playing it, you can say something about it.
Okay.
So you saw the film and decided to do this music. Why was that?
Why was that?
Yeah, what in the film brought this kind of music out, do you think?
Well, the bull in the China Shop. So, and also the temperament of the company. So it's based around a Baroque feeling, and I have kind of crystalline sounds in the high end that stay throughout, and the leitmotif really for the bull is that string sound. Now the string sound is actually done on a synclavier, and this was the first commercial where I used the synclavier, and the whole thing really is synclavier except for an oboe and a timpani, and all the horn parts and the string parts are electronic, and so the music is the kind of mysterious quality in the beginning, the labyrinthian, feeling of will the bull make it through the China Shop, and evolving into the strong ending, where the bull makes it and your finances are safe.
That's incredible. There's a lot of thinking that goes into these things that people don't realize when they're watching them on television. One of your most beautiful is this one, which is the Crystal Spring shampoo ad. I don't know if we have that out here, but when I heard this one, I thought this was this is a piece that could be extended, and in fact you did extend it into a longer piece in the work we're about to hear, New Waves.
Right. Yeah, that was a case of... that's really where it started. I did something for a commercial, and as a matter of fact, in that case, the product actually was never made.
That's why we never saw it, huh?
This happens occasionally.
So they actually make ads for products that aren't quite on the market in some cases.
Well, there are no rules, and anything can happen. And in this case, the product didn't test well, and it was sure to go, but as I say, you never know. So yes, they do sometimes go full scale ahead with something that never quite makes it to the market. But the music, I have it on my reel basically because it's a strong piece of music, and it did grow into a longer piece.